And once I turn 12 or 11, I'm gonna babysit for a while. Yeah, I'm gonna probably babysit till maybe 14 or something until I can get a real job.
Deep shadow. I don't think that. I don't know if it's an article.
I wanna.
Well, no, it's a song. It might be on there. It's an article. Yeah, there it is. It's on there.
Maybe 18 or something. The
But
neighbors
it
across the
explains
hill.
how the guy was lighting.
I had said right. I never applied. So I applied. I remember it was the movie
This guy's a Jewish journalist. He writes for the Atlantic.
Western.
And his dad is a rabbi.
Oh, yeah, something at the Osage Corral.
He's
Yeah,
a musician.
that was on.
And a
That's
musician.
all I remember. And I remember it was. Anyway, I remember she was crying one time, so I picked her up, sold her, and put her back down in bed, and she was fine. And the only other time I babysat was at Rizzo's bar and restaurant in Dunn Road in North County. I was there on a Friday, just sitting at my table at the bar, and Caitlin, who was one of the bartenders there, and server, she had a little girl who was like maybe a year or so old, and Newell asked her to work.
Our prelude today, should I do that right now? I guess I will.
Hi.
Okay, now, that was just a shout out to somebody in the congregation. Our prelude today is to teach you all the melody for a Lecha Do Di. And let's see if we can do it. This could be kind of fun. It's got an interesting rhythm to it. How many of you have eaten burritos before? Okay, good. So you're a little bit familiar with the rhythm of the Latin flavor. Okay, good. A little bit. Thank you so much. Go. What?
I can't really hear what you're saying.
What? Oh, okay. I just asked people's culinary preferences vis-a-vis tortillas and yeah. So it's something like this. Listen closely. Lecha do di. Likrat kala, pene Shabbat, nekabela, lecha dodi. Likrat kala, pene Shabbat, nekabela. That's all you need to know. Let's see if we can do this, okay? Repeat after me. Lecha do di, go. Likrat kalaha, pene Shabbat, nekabela, nekabela. Lecha do di, likrat kalaha. It's a sequence. Let's try it. Ready? And. Lecha do di, likrat kalaha, pene Shabbat, nekabela. Try it. Pene Shabbat, nekabela. Listen. Lecha do di, likrat kalaha, pene Shabbat, nekabela. Let's try that. Let's do that together. Ready? Lecha dodi kala b'nei Shabbat v'kabela lecha dodi likat kala b'nei Shabbat v'kabela. Now I'll do the verses, and then I'm going to give you a little bit of time to catch your breath when I finish the verse. So it's going to go like this. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, Hishmi'anu helam yuchad, Adonai echad, U'shmo echad, L'shem u'tiferet v'litilah. Lecha dodi, likat kala, b'nei Shabbat, v'kabela. Lecha dodi, likat kala, b'nei Shabbat, v'kabela. Well, I think you got it. Who does not know it? Raise your hands. Except for Jessica, who just came in. You'll sit close to somebody who's singing it. You'll pick it up. Trust me, it works. Okay, well, that was our prelude. It's now 6:30. You were the prelude.
Wonderful. What would be really confusing is teaching that version and then doing a completely different one. So I know we are doing that version, but absolutely. So you need to come back on the Shabbat around April Fools. But Shabbat Shalom, everyone. It's wonderful to have you all here. It's great to have another Shabbat, whether you're joining us here in person or joining us virtually through the internet. It is just wonderful to be together for this Shabbat. As we go into our prayer book, you'll notice that some of you may have two different numbers. If you have the thinner Mishkan Tefillah, we'll be using the larger numbers in that prayer book. And if you have the thicker Mishkan Tefillah like I do, you'll be using the only numbers in that prayer book. But we begin with blessing our candles on page 120. As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light. Getting better at it. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
And on page 123, my colleagues have their wine in hand. We represent this for all of you in the congregation. I don't encourage you to bring flasks of wine into the sanctuary, so we'll handle it from here. But wine, as you know, represents our symbol of joy on Shabbat. And as I like to say, it's the ink on which we inscribe our name in the book of life for another week of good and blessing. So if you can all stand, please. And by doing so, you are raising yourselves to a higher plane of holiness as we sing together on the top of page 123. The Kiddush. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodesho be'ahavav ratzon Inechilanu zikaron lemaaseh v'reshit ki hu yom techilo ikro kodesh zecher letziot mitzrayim. Shabbat. And we say together, L'chaim, Shabbat Shalom, and please be seated.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Thank you. This week's Torah portion, Kitei Tzei, contains perhaps my new favorite Hebrew word, lehit alem. Well, it's actually a full phrase that I like and even a mitzvah. So my new favorite commandment is lo tuchal lehit alem. You must not remain indifferent. This phrase comes from the first few verses of Deuteronomy chapter 22. They read, "If you see your fellow Israelites' ox or sheep gone astray, do not ignore it. You must take it back to your peer. You shall do the same with that person's donkey. You shall do the same with that person's garment, and so too shall you do with anything that your fellow Israelite loses and you find. You must not remain indifferent. If you see your fellow Israelite's donkey or ox fallen on the road, do not ignore it. You must raise it together. Do not ignore it. You must not remain indifferent. Do not ignore it." In each case, the word lehit alem is used. But lehit alem is not as simple as ignoring or being indifferent. Rather, lehit alem translates literally as to hide oneself. Thus, lo tuchal lehit alem means you must not hide yourself. In Deuteronomy 22, the preeminent medieval commentator Rashi tells us that this means you must not cover your eyes, pretending not to see it. In other words, if you see your fellow's ox or sheep or donkey or garment or whatever, you must not pretend that you did not see it. You must work to return it to them. If you see something, act. This is a beautiful and important teaching on its own. Plenty of sermons can be, and I'm sure probably have been written and drawn from this mostly literal understanding of this passage. But tonight, I want to really dig in on this word, lehit alem, to hide oneself. Because hiding oneself from something creates different connotations and deeper understandings than hiding something from ourselves, or as the translation in Rashi put it, ignoring something or pretending it doesn't exist. For when we hide something from ourselves, we act on that object, that something, whatever it is. But when we hide ourselves from something, we act on ourselves, not that something. This is an important distinction because when we avoid or ignore or pretend something doesn't exist, it is rarely due to an inherent quality of that object, again, whatever it is. Rather, it is far more likely that we are really avoiding something about or within ourselves. So let's use Deuteronomy 22 as an example. For instance, we're walking down the street, we see a neighbor's hat, their garment. How it got there, who knows? Doesn't matter. But this neighbor is known to leave things lying around. They're a little forgetful. It's not the first time that something like this has happened. So, we choose to keep walking, assuring ourselves with any number of excuses. They live in the opposite direction. I don't have time to return it. Someone else will take care of it, or they'll come looking for it eventually. Or, it's not my problem. And in doing so, we hide ourselves from the hat. I hope you're saying, hide ourselves from the hat? What does that even mean? Why on earth would we need to hide from a hat, an inanimate object? And that's exactly my point. The anxiety, fear, anger, discomfort, whatever emotion is causing us to hide from the hat, from the situation, comes from no place but ourselves. It doesn't come from the hat, it comes from how we experience the moment and interact with the situation. Those excuses, while they may be true and valid reasons to avoid a situation, they also often cover up deeper reasons for this avoidance. By recognizing that we are hiding ourselves in those moments, not simply avoiding an external factor, we ask ourselves, what are we hiding from? So let's go back to our example. We saw the hat, we chose to keep walking. Why? What are we hiding from? Perhaps the answer really is nothing. Maybe we're heading to another neighbor's party, we're already late, and we're the ones bringing the cake. We don't have time to return the hat. But of course, in that case, what we're actually hiding from is avoiding and being even later to that other party, and all the possible unpleasant outcomes of that hypothetical situation. Disappointing or angering those other partygoers, letting people down, or just missing a really awesome party. Now, recognizing this might not change our decision, but in asking the question, we uncover useful information about ourselves. Maybe we fear disappointing and angering others. Or maybe we have a serious case of FOMO, fear of missing out. And by bringing this to our consciousness, in that moment, we can make a more intentional decision. So let's rewind. Another hypothetical. We saw the hat, we kept walking. What are we hiding from? It's not my problem. Okay, but what are we really hiding from? Well, so it's not the first time that this neighbor has left something lying around. Maybe other neighbors have started to gossip or complain about this neighbor, which makes us uncomfortable. Therefore, when we see the hat, our anxiety rises and we just keep walking. However, by answering this, by asking and answering the question, we ought also realize that if that's the case, the anxiety comes not from the neighbor and returning the hat to them, but from the likelihood of future gossip and further discomfort. If we're really avoiding that future gossip and discomfort, it has nothing to do with returning the hat, and you might actually choose to return the hat. You know, actually fulfilling a mitzvah, a real commandment. Regardless of whether it changes our decisions, exploring, recognizing, and accepting the reality of the reasons for our hiding provides useful information for and about us, and it facilitates us making an intentional decision. This is particularly important because while we can remove ourselves from a situation, we can never remove the situation from ourselves. If we see the hat, we can never not have seen the hat, no matter how much we lie to ourselves. So imagine that situation one more time. We see the hat and we keep walking. What happens when that person, our neighbor, comes and asks about their hat? Hey, have you seen my hat? Sorry, no. But of course we know that we did. Oh, you did see it. Well, why didn't you grab it and give it back to me? Insert any lame excuse here. By hiding ourselves from the initial situation, all we have done is delayed confronting that situation and deprived ourselves of an opportunity to learn and grow. For in asking the question, what are we hiding from, we stop hiding. We begin to act and confront the situation. Why didn't we return the hat? Because we were rushing to another party, and honestly, we were scared we might disappoint the people there. We were already late. That was my priority. It's not easy being that vulnerable, and it might not feel good in that moment knowing that we disappointed the person. But we made a decision, a conscious and intentional one, and we should feel sure in having made that decision. When we lehit alem, when we hide ourselves from something, we are really just hiding from ourselves. And when we do, what opportunities do we miss? What learning might we never acquire? What personal growth might we lose or delay? What potential experiences, wonderful and meaningful, or just new and different, might we never have the chance to see? But when we stop hiding, imagine the possibilities. What insight might we gain? What doors might we open? What goodness might we bring into our world and our lives? Lo tuchal lehit alem. Do not hide yourself away. In this season of Elul, the season of introspection and cheshbon hanefesh, and accounting of our souls, we cannot afford to lehit alem, to hide ourselves. By opening our eyes to that which is around us, and more importantly, within us, we can prepare for the high holy days with meaning and intention. And we can enter into a new year poised for growth and goodness. This Elul, this year, lo tuchal lehit alem. May we not hide or hide from ourselves. Shabbat shalom. We turn now to page 138, and we get to sing that new Lachadodi that we just learned. And as you said, if you came in a little late and you don't know it, listen to the people around you. We'll learn it together.
Lecha dodi likrat kala pene Shabbat nikabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala pene Shabbat nikabela. Shamor v'sachor v'tiporechad Ishmi'anu elam yuchad Adonai echad U'shemo echad L'shem v'tiferet v'litilah Lecha dodi Likrat kala B'nei Shabbat Nikabela Lecha dodi Likrat kala B'nei Shabbat Nikabela Likrat Shabbat לכוון אליך, כי היא מקור הברכה מראש, מקדם נסופה, סוף מעשה במחשבתך. לך דודי, לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי, לקראת כלה, בני שבת Everyone stand and face the back of the door to welcome this Shabbat. Boi v'shalom, ateret ba'ala, kam b'simcha u'betzola, toch emunei am sekula, boi chala, boi chala. Everybody face the ark. Lecha dodi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nikabela. Lecha dodi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nikabela. Hadoti Likakala B'nei Shabbat Nikabela Hadoti Likakala B'nei Shabbat Nikabela.
We remain standing as we turn to our page 146 for our call to worship, the Baruch Hu.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach
On page 148, we join together in the Hebrew of Ma'ariv Aravim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bidvaro Ma'ariv Aravim. B'chokhmah poteach she'arim uvitvunam mishanei itim umachalif et hazmanim umsader et hakochavim b'mishmerotehem barakia kirtzono. Borei yom v'layla golel or mipnei choshech v'choshech mipnei or. Uma'avir yom umevi laila, umavdil ben yom uvein laila. Adonai tzivaot shemo, el chai v'kayam. Tamid yimloch alenu leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai, hama'ariv aravim. We join together in the English on the top of page 151. As you taught Torah to those whose names I bear, teach me Torah too. Its mystery beckons, yet I struggle with its truth. You meant Torah for me. Did you mean the struggle for me too? Don't let me struggle alone. Help me to understand, to be wise, to listen, to know. Lead me into the mystery. Baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael. Page 152.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kevod Malechuto Leolam Va'ed.
As we turn to page 154, I invite you to be seated and we join together in the Ve'ahavta.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavecha uvechol nafshecha uvechol meodecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam al levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shivtecha b'vetecha uverechvecha v'derech uveshochbecha uvkumecha ukshartam leod al yadecha v'chayu letoltafot bein einecha uchtavetam al mezuzot beitecha uvishe'arecha למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני Elohechem Emet.
Page 157. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together. Sing our song of freedom, Nichamocha, page 158.
Nichamocha ba'elim Adonai, Nichamocha nedar ba'kodesh, Nichamocha nedar Adonai, Nichamocha nedar ba'kodesh. Torah dehilo, Oseh leleh, Torah dehilo, Oseh leleh, Adonai yimlo le'olam va'ed. Malechutecha uvanecha, Okei hayam lifnei Moshe, Ve'elianu ve'amru, Ve'elianu ve'amru, Adonai yimlo le'olam va'ed. Nichamocha ba'elim Adonai, Nichamocha nedar ba'kodesh, Nichamocha ba'elim Adonai, Nichamocha nedar ba'kodesh. Torah dehilo, Oseh leleh, Torah dehilo, Oseh leleh, Adonai yimlo le'olam va'ed.
On page 160, we join together in Hashkivenu, this prayer that asks that God watch over us as we lie down and go to sleep, and as we wake up to a life renewed. We ask that God spread over us a shelter of peace and guide us with good counsel. And so we join in singing a version that I know we've been singing a lot because Alan Goodis is coming
Right.
next week. And so this is his version.
Hashkivenu, Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom. V'hamidenu, Shomreinu, l'chaim, l'chaim. Let there be love, guard us with peace, strength and compassion for all in need. Shield us from hate, illness, and war. Watch over us as we go forth. Hashkivenu, Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom. Hamidenu, Shomreinu, l'chaim, l'chaim. Fill us with hope, grace, and truth. May we all return to you. Keep us safe, safe tonight. May we rise in a new light. Hashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu Shalom Hamidenu Shomreinu L'chaim 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 L'chaim.
On page 163, we'll find a meditation that speaks to the power of Shabbat. In the middle of the page, we'll begin with this meditation before turning to page 164 and continuing with the Amidah. And so, I invite you to rise as we prepare for the Amidah.
A thought has blown the marketplace away. There's a song on the wind and the joy in the trees. Shabbat has arrived in the world, scattering a song in the silence of the night, and eternity utters a day. And eternity utters a day. Adonai, Svatai, Svatai Tifta, Ufi Yagite Iratecha. Adonai, Svatai, Svatai Tifta, Ufi Yagite Iratecha. Thought has blown the marketplace away. There's a song on the wind and a joy in the trees. Shabbat has arrived in the world, scattering a song in the silence of the night, and eternity utters a day. And eternity utters a day. Adonai, Svatai, Svatai Tita, Ufi Yagite Kilatecha. Adonai, Svatai, Svatai Tita, Ufi Yagite Page 166. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak ve'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel ve'Elohei Leah Ha'el, Hagadol, Hagibor, Ve'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Ve'Konei Hakol, Ve'Zocher Chaste Avot, Ve'Imahot, Umevi Geula, Livnei V'neihem, Lema'an Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer, Umoshia, Umagen, Baruch Atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Ve'ezrat Sarah. Page 168. Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayeh hakol atah rav lehoshia, Mohorid hatal, Mechalkel chayim bechesed, Mechayeh hakol berachamim rabim, Somech noflim ve'rofech horim, Umatir asorim, Umekayem emunato rishenei afar, Micha mocha ba'al gevurot, Umidom eloch melech memit umechayer umatzmiach Yeshua v'ne'eman ata lachayot hakol baruch ata Adonai mechayer hakol. Page 170. Ata kadosh v'shimcha kadosh u'kadoshim v'chol yom yahalalu chaselah baruch ata Adonai ha'el hakadosh.
You may be seated. And we continue on page 172 as we offer a prayer for the holiness of this day of Shabbat. We read together at the middle of the page. You set aside the seventh day for your name, the pinnacle of creation, and you blessed it above all other days, more sacred than all festival times. So it is written in your Torah, the heaven and the earth were finished and all their array. On the seventh day, God had completed the work that had been done, ceasing then on the seventh day from all the work that God had done. Then God blessed the seventh day and made it holy, and ceased from all the creative work that God had chosen to do. Our God and God of our ancestors, be pleased with our rest. Sanctify us with your mitzvot and grant us a share in your Torah. Satisfy us with your goodness and gladden us with your salvation. Purify our hearts to serve you in truth. In your gracious love, Adonai, our God, grant us our heritage, your holy Shabbat, that Israel, who sanctifies your name, may rest on it. Praise to you, Adonai, who sanctifies Shabbat. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. And we turn to the middle of page 175, and we read together. You are with us in our prayer, our love, and our doubt, in our longing to feel your presence and do your will. You are the still, clear voice within us. Therefore, O God, when doubt troubles us, when anxiety makes us tremble, when pain clouds the mind, we look inward for the answer to our prayers. There may we find you, and there find courage, insight, and endurance. And let our worship bring us closer to one another, that all Israel and all who seek you may find new strength for your service. Baruch atah Adonai, she'otcha levadcha bayira na'avod. And on page 177, we turn for a moment as we thank God and offer gratitude for all that has happened in this week. God of goodness, we give thanks for the gift of life, wonder beyond words, for the awareness of soul, our light within, for the world around us so filled with beauty, for the richness of the earth which day by day sustains us. For all these and more, we offer thanks. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha ulecha na'eh lehodot. And we turn to the top of page 179 as we join together in a prayer for peace. Grant us peace, your most precious gift, O eternal source of peace, and give us the will to proclaim its message to all the peoples of the earth. Bless our country as a safeguard of peace, its advocate among the nations. May contentment reign within our borders, health and happiness within our homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship and fellowship among all the inhabitants of every land. Plant virtue in every soul, and may the love of your name hallow every home and every heart. Praised are you, Eternal One, who blesses our people with peace. Baruch atah Adonai, hamivarech et amo Yisrael, bashalom. And we now turn to page 371 in our prayer books, as we turn our hearts, our thoughts, our prayers to those who are in need of healing. And in a moment, we will have the opportunity to call aloud any names of those who we are thinking of tonight who are in need of healing. But as we just read in our prayer, strengthen the bonds of friendship and fellowship among all the inhabitants of every land. Certainly on this Shabbat, we send out our prayers of healing to the United Kingdom. We send out our prayers for healing to those who are in the various Commonwealth countries this evening who are devastated by the loss of their monarch. And so we send our prayers for healing to them. And if you are thinking of someone who is in need of healing tonight and you would like to add their name to our prayers, sending it out into the universe, I ask you to rise at this time as we call those names aloud, sharing them. And may God swiftly send them a complete renewal of body and of spirit, as together we join in singing Mishaberach, our prayer for healing.
Bless the ones before us, help us find the glory, you make our lives a blessing, and let us sing, those in need of healing with the Ruach Shema, renewal of body, renewal of spirit, and let us sing, Amen.
And we take a moment for silent and personal prayer.
Ose shalom, v'him roma. Ose shalom, v'him roma. Ose shalom, v'him roma. Ose shalom. yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru. Shalom, Hoseh shalom, Hoseh shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Amen.
Shabbat Shalom. My name is Bob Sternick, and I'm a member of the UH Board of Trustees. And I have a few announcements I'd like to share with you this evening. First of all, tomorrow, as usual, Torah study begins at 9 o'clock in the chapel and also via Zoom. Shabbat morning services begin at 10:30 in the sanctuary and also via live stream. Israel, a nation of innovation with Ken Riker, will be held tomorrow at 12:30 in the chapel, and it'll also be on Zoom. Zoom is taking over our world. Zoom. Upcoming events that we have to share with you. First of all, please join Rabbi Rosenberg for an overview of the upcoming Israel trip, which is on April 30th to May 11th, 2023. The meeting's at 12 p.m. in the Spielberg Chapel on this coming Sunday, September the 11th. UH is also excited to welcome back musician Alan Goodis, who will join for the Shabbat, leading us up to Silikot on Friday, September 16th. He'll be here at 5:30 p.m. for Tat Shabbat, and also at 6:30 for the Shabbat service. And then again, you can join us on Saturday, September 17th at 10:30 for Family Shabbat. And the very popular Rosh Hashanah in the Orchard will be on Monday, September 26th from 1:30 till 4:30 at the Eckert's Millstadt Farm. Please remember to RSVP for this event, and you can just call the office to do that before September the 20th. For information on additional upcoming events and programs, please look at the UH website. I want to thank our tech team over there for doing a great job, as always, in helping us being able to present this virtually. And because Iris is not here tonight, the gift shop will not be open after services, but we do have some new hours for the gift shop. It's on Mondays and Wednesdays and Fridays from 12 to 3, Tuesdays 9:30 to 12, and Thursdays from 9:30 to 3. Sundays we're also open during religious school from 9 to 1, when religious school is in session. So Shabbat Shalom again, and see you for High Holy Day services.
And since Bob announced that the gift shop is open during religious school hours, religious school begins this Sunday. Hooray! Yes, someone's excited back there. So the gift shop will be open. It does open at 9, and I invite you to join us at 9 a.m. here in the sanctuary for our opening day morning tefillah. We have a new music specialist. We are excited to welcome back Greta Rosenstock. Many of you might remember Greta from when she's been on our bima before, many times singing her bar mitzvah. So we're excited to have her back. Please join us for about 15 or so minutes of singing, and that will happen each Sunday morning at 9, and you all are welcome to join us. And we turn to page 586 as we prepare to conclude our Shabbat evening service as we rise for Aleinu.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי ארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות אדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. Page 591, ונאמר וחיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
You may be seated. And we turn in our prayer books to page 594. It is a fearful thing to love what death can touch. A fearful thing to love, hope, dream, to be and oh, to lose. A thing for fools this, and a holy thing to love. For your life has lived in me, your laugh once lifted me, your word was gift to me. To remember this brings a painful joy. 'Tis a human thing, love, a holy thing, to love what death has touched. And certainly this Shabbat, we remember, though she has not yet been buried, and before services I thought I should have checked with colleagues in the United Kingdom to see what they do when people lie in state, because for Jews, we wait till burial, but maybe not. I don't know, so we'll find out. But nonetheless, this Shabbat, we do remember Queen Elizabeth II. Our heartfelt condolences go out to the family of Susan Fadum. We are in the period of Shloshim for Eunice Evelyn Bayless, Mondell Needles, Dennis Price, and Esther Rubin. This week, this Shabbat, we observe the Yartzites and we lovingly remember Regina Burke, Fred Blank, Solomon Brash, Fred Deutsch, Ben DeWaskin, Fanny Dooney, Ruth Krantz Engman, Rose Block Feldman, Dr. Joseph E. Fields, Herschel Frankel, Sandra Sandy Ruth Ginsburg, Eugene Goldstein, Sadie Gordon, Beatrice S. Halpern, Selma Hurst, Verda Hoffman, Sidney Hookerman, Leon A. Katz, William Klein, Irene Krell, Jenny Lampert, Sam Ben Lappaman, Ruby Leventhal, Milton Levine, Richard L. Levis Jr., Edwin S. Lewis, Samuel H. Miller, Gus G. Mosinger, Joe Podolsky, Eleanor B. Polikoff, Max L. Raskin, Lester M. Richmond, Lillian Rosenblatt, Beatrice Rufa, Jacob Rudman, Rose Fadum Saeda, Ned E. Schneider, Ida Schramm, Melvin M. Schwartz, M.D., Bertie Schwartz, Ida Serenko, Samuel Shainman, Carl Kenneth Sherman, Donald S. Siegel, Dr. Emmanuel Sigaloff, Sophia S. Sinkoff, Ruth Safer Singer, Rose Emmernick Stahl, Armand Stone, Ruthie L. Strauss, Sarah Strauss, Milton Strauss, Ann Y. Tripp, Jenny Wolkowitz, Samuel Zeppin. If one of these loved ones who we have remembered this evening is yours, I invite you now at this time to rise so that we may recognize the memory of your loved one. And Zichronam Livracha, may their memories be a blessing, as together we now rise as one community for the mourner's Kaddish. Yit Gadal ve'yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah, Bi'almad divra chirute v'yamlich malchute, b'chayechon uvyomechon, uv'chaye d'chol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala uvizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei Shemei Rabba mevarach le'olam olmei almaya, yit barach ve'yishtabach ve'yit pa'ar ve'yit romam ve'yit naseh, V'yit hadar, v'yit halev, v'yit halal, shemei d'kudashar barichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru, amen. And as it is the month of Elul, we end with Psalm 27, or a piece of Psalm 27, and we hear the blast of the shofar calling us in anticipation of the upcoming holiday season. Adonai is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? For Adonai is the strength of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? One thing have I desired of Adonai, that I will seek after, that I may dwell in the house of God all the days of my life, to behold the beauty of our sovereign and to inquire in God's temple. Wait for God, be of good courage, and God will strengthen your heart. Wait, I say, for Adonai. Tekiah. Shabbat shalom.